In a time long ago, there were two kingdoms that were at war with each other. The larger kingdom was incredibly powerful, while the smaller kingdom was very weak. The small kingdom was sure of its defeat because the number of its soldiers was far less than that of the larger state. The generals of the small kingdom refused to go to war because they were certain of their defeat. They believed that with such a small army, it would be foolish to fight with such a large army. Therefore, it was better that they accept defeat without fighting and accept all the demands of the neighboring state. Even the king could not put much pressure on his generals and soldiers because he was aware of this fact. However, the king was very brave and did not want to give up without a fight. When the generals and soldiers were reluctant to go to war, the king went to a monk living in a village in his kingdom. The monk was very famous in that state, and everyone respected him very much. The king told his concerns to the monk, who listened to him carefully and said, "King, you make me the commander of your army." The king was surprised to hear the monk's words and said, "Sir, you are a monk and have no experience of war." The monk smiled and said, "King, you do as I tell you." The king had great faith in the monk, so he made him commander of his army. When the army came to know that they were going to fight under the leadership of a man who had no experience in war and who did not even know how to hold a sword properly, they were even more afraid. However, the monk was filled with great enthusiasm, and the king also had full faith in him. The army had no choice but to go to war with the monk. On the way to the battlefield, they passed by a small temple, and the monk stopped outside the temple. He told his army that before leaving, they should take the blessings of the Almighty and also ask him what his wish was, whether they would win this battle or lose. If the Almighty gave them a sign that they would lose the war, they would go back. But if there was a sign of victory from the God, then they would proceed for the war. Although all the soldiers were very scared, they all gathered outside the temple. The monk worshipped for some time, and then he took out a coin from his pocket and shouted in front of the soldiers, "I will toss this coin up. If it falls upside down, it means we will lose the war, and then we will return. But if it falls straight, then it means our victory is certain, and then we will go out for war without any fear." All the soldiers were looking at the monk with great curiosity. The monk tossed the coin up in the air, and the coin fell on the ground straight. The monk shouted with joy and said, "Leave all the bodies, eliminate all the fear. Our victory is certain. Now no one can defeat us because the Almighty has given us a hint of our victory." The whole army was filled with full enthusiasm. Now the hope of victory was confirmed in everyone's mind, and with great enthusiasm, they went straight and clashed with the enemy. There was a fierce battle between both armies. Every soldier of the monk's army was filled with the sure hope of victory. After some time, they started to dominate the enemy's army, and finally, the army of the monk won the battle. While returning and passing nearby that temple, the monk said, "Let us thank Almighty before leaving." All the army gathered outside the temple and started thanking God, saying, "Oh, God, thank you